Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, creator of the universe, who gives us the opportunity to get busy with Torah, to study Torah, to soak ourselves in Torah, and let us all say Amen. Fabulous, wonderful. Okay, so, we are in the thick of, this is a cuckoo story this week, right? They're all pretty cuckoo stories, but this week is like serious. Normally when I prepare, if you've been with me on any of the other Parshat HaShavuah, the weekly Torah portions, I'll break things down into sections and really just focus on some sections. So I did that per usual, but there's one section that I was like, how am I supposed to choose? Because the whole thing needs to be read. But here's what we're going to do. We're actually not going to jump in right into the story of Esau and Jacob and Isaac and Rebecca and that whole mishigas, right? That whole craziness of deception. And it's like the big story. Courtney, you're probably here just getting ideas for a show. Man. Okay. But we're going to start with something I found very, very interesting. I'm going to share my screen. Get ready for this. I think it's going to be this one. Boom. All right. Oh, Merle's here. All right. What do you see? Could somebody just tell me what they see on their screen?
Toldot.
Toldot. Fabulous.
David
Fantastic.
Eshel.
Yes. Source sheet by David Eshel. I made this. Do you all know about well, I know Jen knows about it, the website Safaria? Have you heard of Safaria? Safaria? Fabulous website if you want to. I mean, it's got everything you could possibly want and more when it comes to text. So this week's portion is called Toldot, and it is all about all this cuckoo-ness with Jacob, Esau, birthright, blessing. Is there a difference between the birthright and a blessing, or is the blessing and the birthright the same thing? I don't know. We're going to get to that. But I wanted to start with something that happens right. It's like the story is introduced, then we have another little section, and then it jumps back into the story. I want to go into the thing. There's a little bit of section. There's a lot of times with famine, right? A lot of stories about famine and people leaving, people coming, people leaving, people coming, right? We know like the story of Joseph later on, how there's a famine, and everybody, is coming to Egypt to get the food, including Joseph's brothers, and everybody comes down. And then that's how the Israelites end up in Egypt, right? Because there was a famine, and then they decided to stay in Egypt instead of going back to the promised land. But this happens a lot, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I want to start with one such famine, where I'm just going to read right here. Okay, here we go. There was a famine in the land. Aside from the previous famine that occurred in the days of Abraham, see, there was another famine, right? So what happened with Abraham? There was a famine. They left the promised land. They went down, get some food. They went to the land of the Philistines and Gerar and all that kind of stuff where Abraham hung out. There was a famine in the land aside from the previous famine that occurred in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Avimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar. The Lord had appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Stay in the land which I point out to you." This is God saying to Isaac. Now, I found this very funny. Here's why I found that funny. Because God is like pulling the strings God over here, right? God is pulling the strings and like, Abraham, just go to Gerar. Don't go down to Egypt for your famine. And now Isaac, he's going to be heading down. And maybe he's thinking, I should just go to Egypt. I'll go get. And God's like, no. God's like, comes later. We're going to send everybody down to Egypt later. But for now, don't go. That's why I find it so funny. Because he's like, it's like foreshadow. It's like, I don't want to call them Easter eggs. What should I call them? Matzo balls, hidden matzo ball, right? In movies how they have hidden Easter eggs, it's like things that elude to other things. So I'm going to say this is like a hidden matzo ball. It's alluding to what's going to be happening later. There's going to be another famine, right? But they're going to go to Egypt later, not now. That's why I found that funny. Here we go. But that's not the point of this section that I wanted to share with you that I found also fascinating. The Lord had appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Stay in the land which I point out to you. Reside in this land, and I will be with you, and I will bless you. I will sign all of these lands to you and your heirs, fulfilling the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your heirs as numerous as the stars of heaven, and assign your heirs all these lands, so that all the nations of the earth shall bless themselves by your heirs, inasmuch as Abraham obeyed me and kept my charge, my commandments, my laws, my teachings. So Isaac stayed in Gerar. So here is God just kind of explaining also to, oh, Jen's raising her hand, also to Isaac, the same way he did to the same way God did to, excuse me, the same way God did to Abraham. We'll make this a bit smaller so I can get everybody on my screen. Jen, go ahead. You had a question.
Hey, I just wondered, and I remember anything I say is never by my own intelligence. I've heard it somewhere. I'm just passing it on. If I had an IQ, I could contribute something original. But the idea that that he's going to, Hashem is going to bless, grant him heirs and bless the heirs. But now when you think of the heirs of Isaac, you got a big problem there with Jacob and Esau.
Oh, we're going to get there. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah. So I don't know. That gets very complicated. I'll be quiet.
What's the question?
No question. Like, but how is that blessing? Because Esau then has a big problem.
All right. Yeah. Let's check. We're going to get there. We're going to check it out. These sections are chock full of big problems. There's so many big problems over here. This is bananas. Okay, here we go. Check out what happens next, right? Because this is the part that I love. Well, love is a very interesting word when it comes to this. Okay, so Isaac stayed in Gerar. Check out what happens. When the men of the place asked him about his wife, meaning Rebecca, he said, she's my sister. For he was afraid to say, my wife, thinking the men of the place might kill me on account of Rebecca, for she is beautiful. When some time had passed, Avimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out of the window, saw Isaac fondling his wife, Rebecca. Avimelech sent for Isaac and said, so she is your wife. When did you say she is my sister? Isaac said to him, because I thought I might lose my life on account of her. Avimelech said, what have you done to us? One of the people might have lain with your wife and you would have brought guilt upon us. Avimelech then charged all the people, saying, anyone who molests this man or his wife shall be put to death. Isaac sowed in that land and reaped 100-fold the same year. The Lord blessed him, and the man grew richer and richer until he was very wealthy. He acquired flocks and herds and a large household, so that the Philistines envied him. Okay, what is going on here? What does this say about Isaac's character? And we hear nothing from Rebecca, but what does this say about Isaac's character? What's going on here? Who's got an idea? What is this saying about Isaac's character? Courtney, go.
He was happy to throw her under the bus.
Well, he was happy to throw her under the bus. Absolutely. I mean, to save his own skin. Though, I mean, there could be another way to look at that. Let's go, Phyllis and Warren. You're muted, Phil. There you go.
This is the same thing that Abraham did.
Okay.
And there has to be, I think, some factor of moving up economically and using the women to curry favor with the king.
Okay, so it's the same thing that Abraham did, right? Abraham actually did this twice. He did it once in Egypt and in Gerar with Avimelech, the same king. All right, so maybe this was like, maybe Rebecca was in cahoots with him about this, maybe she gets kind of angry. That kind of leads to what happens next. She's like, what? you serious? You really gonna, and then what's gonna happen when these guys want to come and hang out with me? Are you gonna say something then? So I don't know. This is good. Jen, go. Go. You're muted. Go.
I didn't lower my hand, forgive me. The only comment I could make is that we know now that Isaac is going to get very wealthy, which might influence the story later on.
Okay. Yes.
That's it. I forgot to lower my hand.
How do you think this episode affects or could potentially affect his relationship with Rebecca? Right? We don't really ever talk about this. And this comes right before cuckoo-ness. So we don't know. Maybe this really soured their relationship. Or maybe she was in cahoots with them and being like, yeah, let's just do, we'll tell everybody I'm your sister, and then, nobody's going to kill you. So then this way we can get some work done here and make some money. Right? Maybe she's in cahoots. Maybe she's not. Does this affect their relationship moving forward? And does it then influence what's going to happen next? Courtney.
Okay, maybe it's a little thing, but when I got tripped up on the part where it said the Lord blessed him, and read it as in rewarded. And so if you kind of go back to the thing he's being rewarded for, it's for the actual.
So rewarded for being blessed and being you pretty sneaky, pretty good.
Right.
And then I'm going to bless you with abundance because of your sneakiness. But this is interesting. Okay. Phyllis, you said that this is the same thing that Abraham did, right?
Yes.
However, it's not exactly. And let me show you why. Get ready. I'm going to move it down over here. We're backing up. We're backing up in the Torah a little bit. Genesis 20. Abraham journeyed from there to the region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While he was sojourning in Gerar, this is Abraham now, okay? This is Abraham now. Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, she's my sister. So King Avimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. But God came to Avimelech in a dream by night and said to him, you are to die because of the woman that you have taken, for she is a married woman. Now Avimelech had not approached her. He said, oh Lord, will you slay people even though innocent? He himself said to me, she's my sister. And she also said, he's my brother. So here we actually have Sarah's got a voice here. No Rebecca before, Sarah's got a voice. But check out what happens. This is what I love here. Well, it's not really the same because she also said, he's my brother. When I did this, my heart was blameless and my hands were clean. And God said to him in the dream, I knew that you did this with a blameless heart. And so I kept you from sinning against me. That was why I did not let you touch her. Therefore, restore the man's wife, since he is a prophet. He will intercede for you to save your life. If you fail to restore her, know that you shall die, you and all that are yours. Early the next morning, Abimelech called his servants and told them all that had happened. And the men were greatly frightened. Then Abimelech summoned Abraham and said to him, what have you done to us? What wrong have I done to you? Should you bring such a guilt upon me and my kingdom? You have done to me things that ought not to be done. Okay, get ready. You ready for this? What then, Abimelech demanded of Abraham, was your purpose in doing this thing? Well, I thought, said Abraham, surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife, right? Because she's beautiful there. Get ready. And besides, she is in truth my sister, my father's daughter, though not my mother's, and she became my wife. So Sarah really was his sister, his half sister. So technically, he and she were not lying. They really were siblings. Same father, different mother. So it's not really the same, right? It's not really the same. Phyllis, do you want to defend Isaac now by saying, well, it's the same thing that his father did?
I would defend Phyllis. Because
oh, boy, that's beautiful. How long have you been together, the two of you?
Only what, 53 years?
Only 52. May we all be so blessed, man. I tell you what, I go into her defense. I love it.
I think motivation was the same. I it's like using an excuse. Oh, well, I didn't mean to do that. I meant this. So I think the motivation was still there.
So it's like,
to say
technically we are brother and sister, but my motivation was really to save my life. But this time Sarah was in business with Abraham. Rebecca might have been in business with Isaac, but we don't know. We don't know. They never talked about it. It was just quick, boom, that's my sister. Sorry, everybody. And she might have been like, what? Which may lead to what happens later. But let's talk a little bit about Isaac's character. What do we learn so far? What do we learn so far? Go, Courtney.
What did we learn so far? We learned.
Were you raising your hand? I thought
I wasn't, but
oh.
It's okay. No, we learned that he's willing to do what he did with his wife, and like that he was going to be cool with that. Up until what point we don't know, because we never got that far. And that he's willing to live off the blessings of God that were perhaps ill-gotten.
Oh, wow, the ill-gotten blessing. Wow, now how about that for foreshadow? How about that for the hidden matzo ball? Ill-gotten blessing. All right, let's move on. So, go, Jen.
Yeah, the idea that it's interesting how it plays out that, this is all, so much of this has to do with seeing, literally vision. And then of course, Isaac is going to lose his sight. And also I was struck by the idea that Abraham brings God into this, saying there was no, excuse me, there was no fear of God in this place.
Yes.
Whereas Isaac, he's happy to take the blessings, but he's not relating to them as a people that accepts God or doesn't. It's simply, I might have been killed.
Fascinating. It's okay. It's almost like from generation to generation, a watering down of faith and connection to tradition. Wow. Okay. I might be writing about that in another later thing. I like that. This is fabulous. Jen, I'll give you credit. Courtney, I'll give you some credit, in the notes. I'll give it. Okay, here we go. We're moving on. Now we're just gonna jump into the story. So this part right here, this part right here actually comes before this part actually comes before them going down to Gerar, this next part. Though there was no mention when they go down to Gerar of Esau and Jacob, but this section actually comes before. All right, here we go. When the boys grew up, meaning Esau and Jacob, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the outdoors. But Jacob was a mild man who stayed in the camp. All right, check this out. Isaac favored Esau because he had a taste for game. Isaac favored Esau. So right here, we already know that there's going to be a whole bunch of bananas things happening because there's people favoring each other. Isaac favored Esau.
Can I just ask, is it literally in Hebrew he had a taste for game? What is
okay, I'll look right now.
It's not that you have to know, but it's sort of.
Yes.
Does that mean his appetite literally is taste buds?
Yes.
He likes to eat.
Yes.
Okay, and then why is it? But feel free to just move on. Why is it it's interesting that we know about Isaac's character by this wife story, was sister wife before we know that he favored Esau, because generally, parents, before the kids grow up, they can favor one or the other, which
Well, this part came before. This part comes before what we've just read.
Oh, it does. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, this is Genesis 25, 27 through 34. And what we read earlier was Genesis. Am I making everybody nauseous by doing this? Was Genesis 26, 1 through 14.
Oh, it comes after we know that Isaac
I just cut it and put it so we could talk about that first.
Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, stop it. Stop with the sorry. Okay, Isaac favored Esau because he had a taste for game, but Rebekah favored Jacob. Okay, so there it is right there. Rebekah favors Jacob and Isaac favors Esau. All right, this is interesting. We're going to get to something a little bit later. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, so this is just between Jacob and Esau. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the open, famished. And Esau said to Jacob, "Give me some of that red stuff to gulp down, for I am famished," which is why he was named Edom, meaning red. Jacob said, "First sell me your birthright." And Esau said, "I'm at the point of death, so of what use is my birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob then gave Esau bread and lentil stew. He ate and drank, and he rose up and went away. Thus did Esau spurn the birthright. Okay. What is the difference between a birthright and a blessing? Is there a difference between a birthright and a blessing? And is Esau even permitted to give this away? Who says that he's even allowed to give it away to Jacob? And is this even like a binding exchange here? Is this even a binding? I mean, they're kids. They're kids. And we're talking about the birthright. Later on, we're going to be saying it doesn't refer to the birthright. It refers to the blessing. So they could be the same thing, but they could also be something different. Like this, like just be a brotherly kind of going back and forth. Now we're going to go into the story, but check this out. There's some crazy things happening in here. So yes, Jen.
One thing to notice, again, did not do this by myself. Okay, Isaac but I thought this was so interesting. Isaac, we already know, is a wealthy man.
Okay.
So not only would Rebekah not be cooking, Jacob certainly wouldn't be cooking. The maidservant would be cooking.
Unless this is just something he liked to do.
Unless he liked to do it or he had a plan.
Oh,
he already was calculating. I know
you're going even darker than I did.
Well, I have no, maybe he just likes cooking. So I just thought that was so interesting practically. Why would Yaakov be cooking? So
that's a great question. All right, well, let's see where this goes. So now they're old. Now Isaac is old. When Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, he called his older son Esau and said to him, "My son," he answered, "Here I am, Hineni." And he said, "I am old now, and I do not know how soon I may die. Take your gear, your quiver, and your bow. Go out into the open and hunt me some game. Then prepare a dish for me, such as I like, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my innermost blessing before I die." Giving him the innermost blessing. Who can argue? Let's see what we can do here. Argue for me that this is the same as the birthright, or argue for me this is not the birthright. This is just a father wanting to give his son his innermost blessing, the one that he favored the most. What do we think here? What do we think? Is this the same thing or is it different? Phyllis and Warren raising their hand.
I think it's different because I think the birthright is that he was the oldest son. And I think the blessing is a special thing that was given to a favorite.
Oh, Okay. So birthrights might refer to material things because he's the oldest son, and it's just how it used to be that the oldest son got everything. But blessing is something beyond the material.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. Okay. Okay. Who can argue for us that they're actually the same thing, that the birthright and the blessing are the same thing? Who can argue for us that? Two participants raised their hand. Three even. I'm going to go Douglas. We haven't heard from you. Douglas, do you prefer Douglas or Doug, or what do you prefer?
Either one.
Okay. Douglas, please.
I think they're the same. I think
Please.
he's just using a different word for the same thing just to make it different.
Just to make it different. Sort of like in, yeah, okay. I get like there's some prayers like that bring it like Ma tovu olecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. How wonderful are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. Same word or same idea, two different words. Good. All right. Phyllis and Warren. You're going to argue against yourself?
No, we forgot to lower the hand, but.
Oh, okay.
Never the case.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. I like both of those ideas, and I'll take both of them. Jen, go.
Hey, maybe there is, I agree with all of you, but that the idea that they are the same, except that perhaps birthright is more of a legal thing because he had to swear. You can't swear upon getting someone's blessing, like swear to me, I'll stand in for you for the blessing. But the idea that a birthright has more of a legal element to it.
Okay, great, fabulous. Let's keep going. All right. So Rebecca, she had been listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau had gone out into the open to hunt game to bring home, Rebecca said to her son Jacob, I overheard your father speaking to your brother Esau, saying, bring me some game and prepare a dish for me to eat, that I may bless you with the Lord's approval before I die. Now, my son, this is Rebecca speaking to Jacob, listen carefully as I instruct you. Go to the flock and fetch me 2 choice kids, and I will make of them a dish for your father, such as he likes. Then take it to your father to eat, in order that he may bless you before he dies. Jacob answered his mother, but my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am smooth skinned. If my father touches me, I shall appear to him as a trickster and bring upon myself a curse, not a blessing. All right. What's going on here? Jacob, he's not, whoa. That's a bad idea. This belongs to him. He's rather, whoa. We're going to get caught because I'm not hairy like my brother. And what is Rebecca's motivation here? What is Rebecca's motivation here? And what does this say about Jacob and his relationship with his mother? He doesn't say, we shouldn't do this. He said, I'm going to get caught because I'm not hairy. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got. We got Jen. We got Phyllis and Warren. Let's go Jen, Phyllis, and Warren. And then if anybody else wants to jump in.
Okay, 2 things. It seems like because Isaac said to Esau, prepare it the way I like it. So Esau and Isaac must have had a relationship that was pretty close. He knew how his father liked the
beautiful food.
But,
do it how you know I like it. Do it like I like it.
You know how I like it. Okay. Yeah. Then the other thing is that Rebecca may know what's involved in a blessing, the power of that blessing, and she simply knew, because she knew her 2 sons, that Yaakov would be more prepared to handle the responsibilities. Esau was ready to sell his birthright because he was hungry. So no discussion. Lentil soup.
They're not in it together. Look, Isaac, before you start giving away birthrights, maybe we should talk. We're partners in this. No, nothing like that. So she's just jumping in. Now let's look at it let's look at it. We can look at Rebecca in a couple ways here. We could look at it as she's still angry about what he did to her back in Gerar, so I want to get back at him. Or if she was in cahoots with Isaac, she's also maybe quite cunning and trying to maneuver and manipulate things to what she wants to happen, which is also very possible. Phyllis and Warren.
Well, I'll bring up something else, and that is that God told her that the older son was going to serve.
Oh,
maybe she's just doing what she needs to do.
Warren. Okay, because check out what I did. I'm gonna careful. I might be making you nauseous because I'm gonna be scrolling all the way to the end here. There is actually a section that comes before all of this that I did not include. Genesis 25:23. And the Lord answered her, meaning Rebekah, 2 nations are in your womb. 2 separate peoples shall issue from your body. 1 people shall be mightier than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. And the older shall serve the younger. So already the blueprints for this were put into place prior to any of this happening by God. Here's what's going to happen. All right. Like, okay, you guys are going to, there's a famine. Oh, don't go to Egypt yet. That comes later. That comes, later. Don't go there. Just go to Gerar and hang out over here. Oh, Rebecca is going to be, in cahoots over here. We're going to see what happens. Rebecca is thinking about this because this is what God came and told her while she is listening. While she is listening to her husband, she's like, this is the time. This is what's going to happen. I better get in. I better jump into action. So maybe this is like really talking about relationship. God said this is going to happen, but I have to actually make it happen. God said this is going to happen, but I actually have to make it happen. All right. So she says, but his mother said to him, your curse, my son, be upon me. This is fascinating. All right. Rebecca just said to her son, because he said, I can't do this. Instead of a blessing, it's going to be a curse. He's going to know I'm a trickster. And Rebecca said, don't worry about it. Your curse, which you think you're going to be cursed, my son, it'll be upon me. Don't worry. I'll take the blame. Right? Basically, she's saying, I will take the blame. Let's keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for a second. I'm going to take the blame. He got them and brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared a dish just as his father liked. Rebekah then took the best clothes of her older son Esau, which were there in the house, and had her younger son Jacob put them on. And she covered his hands and the hairless part of his neck with the skin of the kids, meaning the goats. Then she put in the hands of her son Jacob the dish and the bread that she had prepared. He went to his father and said, Father. And he said, Yes, which of my sons are you? Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you have told me. Pray, sit upon and eat of my game, that you may give me your innermost blessing. Isaac said to his son, how do you succeed so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Lord your God granted me good fortune. Meaning he's like, Isaac is getting a little, he's like, I'm not so sure. Is this really, how did you make that so quickly? You don't know if you had the time to go and cook it the same way that you went out there. I don't know. Let's see. Isaac said to Jacob, come closer. Come over here, because he knows something's up. Come closer, because he's, I don't see so well. Let me feel your arm over here. Come closer that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not. So he's already like, something's not right here. Something's not right. So Jacob drew closer to his father, Isaac, who felt him and wondered, the voice is the voice of Jacob, yet the hands are the hands of Esau. He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. And so he blessed him. Isaac, he's like, all right, I'm going to bless you, even though I'm still not 100%. Your voice is not the voice of Esau, but I feel your arms over here and you feel like him, but still, all right, I'm going to bless you. Let's see what happens, right? All right, but check out what happens. Check out what happens in a little bit, because this is going to be nuts. Serve me and let me eat my son's game, that I may give you my innermost blessing. So he served him and he ate, and he brought him the wine and he drank. So he's drinking the wine too. So he's like, then his father Isaac said to him, come close and kiss me, my son. And he went up and kissed him, and he smelled his clothes, and he blessed him, saying, ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of the fields that the Lord has blessed. So he's already keeps testing. But now he's like, fine. He's a little shicker. He's a little drunk. And he's like, all right, may God give you of the dew of heaven and the fat of the earth, abundance of new grain and wine. Let peoples serve you and nations bow to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow to you. Cursed be they who curse you. Blessed they who bless you. No sooner had, okay, check this out. No sooner had Jacob left the presence of his father Isaac, after Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, that his brother Esau came back from the hunt. He too prepared a dish and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, let my father sit up and eat of his son's game, so that you may give me your innermost blessing. And his father Isaac said to him, who are you? And he said, huh? I'm your son Esau, your firstborn. Isaac was seized with violent trembling. Who was it then, he demanded, that hunted game and brought it to me? He knew. Yeah, he knew it was him, right? Who was it then, he demanded, that hunted the game and brought it to me? Moreover, I ate of it before you came, and I blessed him. Now he must remain blessed. Why? Why? It was given under false pretenses. Why? What? Is this different than the birthright? He could say, dude, you tricked me. I don't even give you all this stuff. What? I mean, what? If it was given under false pretense, why is it? I mean, this is bananas. Okay. Moreover, I ate of it and came to bless him. Now he must remain blessed. I don't know why here. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst into wild and bitter sobbing and said to his father, bless me too, father. But he answered, your brother came with guile and took away your blessing. Esau said, was he then named Jacob, that he might supplant me these 2 times? Supplant me these 2 times. So Esau does remember giving away this birthright. So maybe he now knows, he now thinks, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Because back then he had no regret about giving it away. Birthright, schmirthright. I'm hungry today. I'm famished today. What do I need this birthright in the future? I'm hungry today. Jen.
Okay, yeah, thanks. A couple of things. First, minor point. Esau, is he living at home at this point, or he's moved out with his wife? And
they're still all living together.
They're all living together. Okay, so his clothes would be there.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm
or not necessarily. I know plenty of people who still go home to have their parents do their laundry.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Of course. And then the other thing is, it's interesting that Yaakov brought wine along with the meal. In other words, maybe to make Isaac not so guarded, although he asked plenty of questions. Second thing is, I would like to hear everybody's opinion, the idea that Isaac said, when he uses the word guile, is that something that, hey, your brother did not such a good thing, but he's pretty,
pretty quick.
Which is,
even though it wasn't even his idea. It wasn't even his idea. It was Rebecca's idea.
That's true.
Rebecca's idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly, yeah.
So she's the cunning one in this whole thing. Maybe she was like, hey, tell them I'm your sister, see what happens.
So Isaac is fooled twice in that, first of all, he credits Yaakov with being pretty cunning when it was really Rebecca.
Yeah.
And he, of course, mixes up the birthright, the blessing. Sorry.
Or either one, I don't know. Let's see, we got to, okay. Who else is raising there? Phyllis and Warren, go ahead.
So a couple things. One is that I think Rebecca is way more important here than a lot of, under the I think that she actually went to God originally and asked what her purpose was.
Ooh.
And so all along, she has been the one who has been driving what happens, because she knows that she is the head of a major peoples, and everything she's doing is to ensure that that happens.
Fabulous. Everything she's doing is to ensure that that happens. And she's kind of, sort of like, God is manipulated behind the scenes, kind of pushing here, maybe a little nudge here. That's what Rebecca's doing. She's just like stirring the pot, literally and figuratively.
And
I'm just, keep going. Yeah, keep going.
I also think that I think when Isaac says about the guile, I think he probably was accepting that he gave that blessing to Jacob, and it was not something that he felt that needed to be undone.
Say it again.
I'm not sure I can. Now, I sort of think that he may have understood that he was giving the blessing to Jacob after the fact, but that he was okay with that.
Mhm.
What makes you think he was okay with that?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, here we go. Because this is another part that's coming up. Then I was like, whoa, this is well, have you not reserved? Wait, first he took away my birthright, and now he takes away. So right here, we know Esau looks at these things as two different things. Esau said, was he then named Jacob that he might supplant me these two times? First, he took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing. Jacob didn't take it away. Esau gave it away. Esau gave it away. Was it right? And he added, have you not reserved the blessing for me? Isaac answered, saying to Esau, but I have made him master over you. I have given him all his brothers for servants and sustained him with grain and wine. What then can I still do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, have you but one blessing, father? Bless me too, father.
Yeah.
Esau wept out aloud. And his father Isaac answered, saying to him, see, your abode shall enjoy the fat of the earth and the dew of the heaven above. Yet by your sword you shall live. You shall serve your brother. But when you grow restive, you shall break his yoke from your neck. Now check this out. Now Esau harbored a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing which his father had given him. And Esau said to himself, let but the mourning period of my father come, and I will kill my brother Jacob. When the words of her older son Esau were reported to Rebekah, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, your brother Esau is consoling himself by planning to kill you. Now, my son, listen to me. Flee at once to Haran, to my brother Laban. Stay with him a while until your brother's fury subsides, until your brother's anger against you subsides. All right, you ready? And he forgets what you have done to him. He forgets what you have done to him. Rebecca did that to him. It was just his pawn, her pawn. Oh, Courtney's shaking her head at me. Go ahead, Courtney. You're muted.
Rebecca didn't do it to him. She suggested it.
Oh, what?
How about some accountability here?
Suggested.
He's the one who still had to carry it out.
Look at this fabulous. What to carry it out? He didn't do it. Rebecca said, all right, here, you're gonna go do this. Go get this. I'm gonna cook. Rebecca cooked. Rebecca covered him in the fur. Rebecca pushed him. They said Jacob was this guy who was just chill, like to stay at home. Just like to stay at home. He wasn't like they said.
He's a mama's boy.
Like to
Mom,
stay
think this
closer
is-
to the tent.
This is a radical lesson in family dynamics. I mean, you're talking about two twins here. You're talking about twins, right?
Yeah.
And who can be the oldest, who can be the youngest? Like the older child dynamic is a real thing in a household that is not twins. And so you've got these two jockeying for first position since the moment they came out of the womb. And then you have this one son who maybe has been infantilized his whole life because he's the one who likes to stay at home, while the other one likes to go out and hunt. And I think at some point, Rebecca knows that she's not going to be around forever. And she's like, you guys have to figure out how to be grown men.
Where do you see that part? That
She's-
last part.
Hopefully he goes to the brother's house and has that revelation. You know, these two have to figure out, without mom suggesting things, how they're going to operate in life.
What's suggesting? How is that a thing? That was a, I am putting the food in your hand. I am covering
He's
you
a grown man, is he not? He's not 8 years old.
No, he's not. He's like in his probably at this time in his 40s.
So I feel like he would have agency.
Yeah, he
One
could
would
have
hope.
stood up for him and said, Mom, this is too much. I don't want to mess with this.
Yeah, he could
Nobody
have, and he
comes
sure
out of this
didn't.
likable. You know what I mean? It's like,
So what you're suggesting, he should go against his mother? He's probably like, dude, mama said so. My mother is telling me that I need to do this, so I'm gonna, you know.
Yeah. It says a lot about
Phyllis,
Jacob,
I see you
his
talking,
character.
but you're muted.
So she has to get him out of there. She knows she has to get him out of there, and she's
Yeah.
trying to scare him into leaving.
Okay. All right. Try to scare. So, because what did she say earlier? Don't worry, your curse, it'll be on me. I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame. Oh, your brother's pissed for what you did to him. He's gonna get, I'll take the blame. Don't worry, go do this. I'm giving you the food. Go. Here's some wine. Bring it to your father. Go. Here, I'm gonna put the hair on your arm. Go. Don't worry, I got you. I got your back. I'll take the curse. Oh, look what you did.
Says a lot about Rebecca, because she said, I'll take, don't worry, I'll take the blame. I don't see her going to Esau to say, hold your horses, it was me. I knew
Totally.
for the best.
Because she's not going to, because she understands the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Right? She's a player in this bigger picture. She understands what's going on. Right? She understands what's going on. And even the way that she came into these people's lives, right? She agreed to, like, yeah, sure, I'll go with you, Eliezer. When Abraham and Sarah sent Eliezer back to Haran to go find somebody fabulous for Isaac, they find Rebecca. She's chilling at the well and she's taking care of the animals and she's helping people out. And they ask her, her family's like, do you want to go? She's like, sure, I'll go check it out. So we know that she's already adventurous. She's already strong. She's cunning. She's smart. And she's like, when she gets this, she's like, all right, here's what's going to happen. I need to help manipulate the situation. I need to kind of push it in the right direction. Right? So I don't know. So then she says, until your brother's anger against you subsides and he forgets what you've done to him, then I will fetch you from there. Let me not lose you both in one day. Wow. Rebecca said to Isaac, I am disgusted with my life because of the Hittite woman. If Jacob marries a Hittite woman like these from among the native women, what good will my life be? So he's now being like, oh, these people around me and everything like that. Isaac's already thinking, and then so what does Esau do? He goes and marries these Hittite women. He's like, oh, you're going to mess with me, and then everything that you don't like, I'm going to do. Everything you don't like, I'm going to do. Douglas.
Yeah, thank you. I want to go back to verse 20.
All right. Oh, we're going. Okay. Slowly.
He says,
verse 20.
Verse 20.
Verse 20. Not chapter 20, verse 20. What am I doing?
You just passed.
You're right
No,
about
no,
this.
go back now the other way. Yeah.
This
Right
one?
there.
Yeah, there's one word that disturbs me.
Ooh, okay.
And it says, in the sentence, in the last sentence, quote, because the Lord your God granted me good fortune. Your God. Does that mean he hasn't accepted God yet?
Let's look. I'm gonna look. Interesting.
God, yeah, right there, Elohecha.
Because the Lord your God granted me good fortune. Because it could say, because it says Adonai Elohecha, right? It says Adonai Elohecha instead of Adonai Eloheinu, our God.
Yeah, that's what he should have said.
I mean, it could also be like when we say like your mother. When I say well, no, I guess it wouldn't be that. When I'm talking about well, your mother said, but I'm referring to because it is the mother, not our mother. That's interesting. And maybe that could speak to this idea of watering down, because later on, Jacob says something really interesting to God when God comes to Jacob to say, all right, so now you are the guy who is going to be basically, your descendants are going to be as numerous as the stars of the sky and the sands and the grains of the sands of the earth. And Jacob said, if you protect me, then I will join this covenant with you. Abraham never said that. Isaac never said that. Jacob said that. If you do this for me first, right? So maybe it's this kind of watered down. That's a really interesting question, Douglas. That's a really interesting question. I'm gonna look into that. I'll give you credit for it too. Let's go back down here. So here's what we got. We have God really set this whole thing in motion, talking to Rebecca. Rebecca, already we know she's strong, smart, cunning. She favors Jacob. Maybe she favors Jacob less because he hangs out with her, but more because she knows that she's raising him to be the one who takes over, right? But she still feels something, right? She's not really disconnected from everything because she says, Rebecca said, no. Where does she say, now my son, listen to me, flee at once to Iran? No, she says, consoling himself. Touch you. There, let me not lose you both in one day. So she already feels like she knows that she's ruined her relationship with Esau, right? That's what she's feeling. She's ruined her relationship. She doesn't want now Esau to then kill Jacob. So maybe she is just trying to scare him into manipulating him into leave. Like, I know I had to put all of this into motion, but I'm putting all of this into motion by sacrificing my relationship with my children, which is very interesting. Because what happened earlier, Abraham, when he was going to literally sacrifice Isaac, right? Remember, he was going to literally sacrifice Isaac. And then from that moment on, right, he also, maybe Abraham realizes that he has sacrificed his relationship with his family because he and Sarah never speak again after that moment. He and Sarah never speak again. So in this devotion and putting God's plan into play, he's sacrificing his relationship with his family, Abraham did. Now this is Isaac and Rebecca doing the same thing, right? And where does it stop? I mean, Courtney, what was the words that you used? That this is an interesting study in family what?
I think I called it radical family dynamics.
Yes, it's a study, it's radical family dynamics, right? So this is exactly who we are, right? This radical family. We all have it in our families. We all have it. We all have it. We all have it. I'm not even going to get into the cuckoo stories of my family. I have them. We all do. But with that, I'm going to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. And thank you for participating, for sharing our fabulous stories and your wonderful ideas. And to be continued. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
With
you.
that,
you.
hold on,
Shabbat shalom.
everybody.
Everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Happy
Shabbat
Rosh
Shalom.
Chodesh.
Happy Rosh Chodesh. Shabbat Shalom. All the wonderful things.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you. Have a good week.